Have you ever wondered what really happens in someone's mind when they ignore or reject someone who deeply cared for them? Let's be real. You loved them, you tried, and they treated you with indifference, almost like you were invisible. Then you did something they expected. Yes, this time, let's say they already know that you are going to do this. Yes, I am talking about silence. So, you went silent. Here's where it gets interesting. What if your silence wasn't the unexpected move you thought it was? What if they were counting on it? What if they already knew you would pull back, already anticipated that one day, after giving and giving, you'd finally stop chasing? And now they're laughing, smirking, feeling victorious because, in their mind, your silence was never a twist. It was the chapter they saw coming. And what if they are laughing and thinking that your silence isn't hitting them the way you imagined? What if, instead of making them miss you, it's giving them satisfaction? What if they're sitting there thinking, "Oh, I know them. I was expecting this. How predictable. How boring." They see your silence, and instead of feeling its weight, they see you as predictable. Oh, sitting there in silence thinking it will affect me. How funny, they think. So, have you ever thought, is your silence playing into their hands? Are you giving them exactly what they expected? If you're ready to unravel this twisted game of human psychology, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive deep. This isn't like our previous videos on the power of silence. This time, we're flipping the script. We've already talked about the unpredictable force of going silent. But what happens when they already expect your silence, when they're prepared for it, when they think they've already won the game? So, hit that little like button under this video and help spread this message to more people searching for answers, clarity, and strength. Your support can help someone break free from the cycle they thought they'd never escape. And now, let's dive into it. Picture this. They're sitting there, comfortable, smug, convinced that your silence means they've defeated you. In their mind, your withdrawal is nothing more than a predictable surrender, a move they saw coming from miles away. They believe they've reduced you to nothing but a forgotten memory, someone too weak to keep playing their twisted game. Good, they think. I knew this would happen. They believe your silence is proof that they were always in control, that you've given up, vanished into irrelevance. They see no threat in your quiet. They only see victory. But, oh my friend, how foolish they are. They think your silence is about them. They think you're sitting there hoping they'll notice, hoping they'll miss you, hoping they'll see your worth. How funny, isn't it? They really believe that after everything they've put you through, after all the disrespect, indifference, and manipulation, you still care, that you're still waiting for them. Ha! How wrong they are. And don't you dare tell me, folks, that you're still doing this for them. Don't tell me you're sitting in that silence imagining their regret, hoping they'll finally realize what they lost. No, you are a Stoic, and a Stoic doesn't beg for recognition. A Stoic doesn't sit in silence for anyone else's validation. A Stoic rises above. Your silence isn't about them. It never was. It's about you. It's about reclaiming your peace, your power, and your self-worth. It's about choosing dignity over drama, strength over sensitivity, and purpose over pain. Because a Stoic doesn't just survive betrayal, a Stoic transcends it. Say it with me. My silence is my strength. Drop it in the comments. Declare it to the world. Let them see you thriving. They think you are predictable? Oh, they don't know you yet, not the Stoic version of you. So, say it out loud in the comments. My silence is my strength. Let the world know you've risen above. And while they sit there still thinking they've won, you're just getting started. Number 1, they think they've won, but they haven't. As we've already discussed, they think your silence means they've won. In their mind, your withdrawal is proof that they've broken you. They sit there, basking in the glow of their imagined victory, convinced that your quiet means defeat. I knew this would happen, they tell themselves, feeling invincible, untouchable. They believe they've reduced you to a distant memory, a weak, irrelevant figure in a story where they are the undisputed champion. But oh, how wrong they are. What they fail to realize is that silence is never what it seems. It's not a white flag of surrender. It's the calm before the storm. You see, they expect drama, begging, endless conversations explaining how much they hurt you. They expect chaos, not stillness. They thrive on emotional outbursts, not quiet strength. And when you don't give them that, when you go silent, they think they've won. But their biggest mistake is thinking that your silence is just another manipulative tactic, a cheap trick they believe they've seen before. In their twisted mind, they assume you're playing the same petty game they mastered. Push, pull, retreat, return. They think you're using silence to bait them, to make them chase, to stir up the same emotional chaos they've inflicted on you time and time again. Oh, how wrong they are. What they can't grasp is that your silence isn't about them at all. It's not a ploy, not a trick, not some desperate strategy to get them back. Your silence is freedom. It's the clean break from their toxic loop. It's not about forcing them to feel anything. It's about you choosing to feel nothing for them anymore. They believe you're sitting there, monitoring your phone, waiting for a sign that your absence has finally gotten under their skin. They think you're anxiously hoping for that message, that apology, that desperate plea to return. But the reality? You're not playing their game. You've left the arena entirely. And oh, that's the one move they never saw coming. See, manipulators assume everyone operates like they do, plotting, scheming, playing psychological chess. But your silence isn't part of some grand strategy. It's an exit. While they think they're holding the strings, you've already cut them and walked away without making a sound. To them, silence has always been a weapon, a tool to inflict confusion, guilt, and control. But they'll never understand that. For you, silence isn't a weapon. It's peace. It's the quiet strength of someone who no longer needs to explain, argue, or seek closure. It's the choice to rise above, to transcend, to rebuild in the shadows where they can't reach. They expect you to break, to crack, to send that one last message explaining how much they hurt you. They expect you to prove that you still care because they need you to care. That's the only way their power works. But when they realize you've gone silent, not as a tactic, but as a declaration that they no longer matter, that's when the cracks in their reality begin to show. Because without your reactions, without your energy, they're left with nothing but the emptiness they've been running from all along. And one day, when they finally figure it out, that your silence wasn't about manipulation, but about liberation, they'll realize too late that they never won. They weren't even playing the same game. They were still stuck in a petty cycle, while you were building a life they'll never be part of. Number 2, your silence forces them to face themselves. When you go silent, something unexpected happens. They're left alone with their own thoughts. And for someone who thrives on manipulation, drama, and control, that's the last place they want to be. You see, manipulators and toxic people avoid self-reflection like the plague. They build their identity on external validation, power plays, and controlling others. Your silence takes all that away. In the absence of your energy, they have no one to blame, no one to manipulate, and no one to distract them from their inner emptiness. They're left with the person they are when no one is looking, a version of themselves they can't stand. At first, they might shrug off your silence. They might laugh, dismiss it, and tell themselves it's no big deal. But as time passes, the weight of your absence begins to creep in. Without your reactions and attention to feed their ego, they're forced to confront the hollow reality of their own actions. Here's the thing. Toxic people don't want to face their flaws. They don't want to think about the damage they've caused or the relationships they've destroyed. Your silence puts a mirror in front of them, and it's not a reflection they're ready to see. They start to question, why do I feel this emptiness? Why doesn't their silence bother me the way I thought it wouldn't? Why am I replaying the things I said or did to them? For someone who's avoided accountability their whole life, these thoughts are like cracks in a dam. And your silence? It's the water pushing through, forcing them to confront the truth they've tried so hard to avoid. The power of silence isn't just about what they lose, it's about what they're forced to gain, awareness of their own brokenness. And that realization, it's something they can't escape, no matter how hard they try. Number 3, what they never expected. So folks, now we know what they are expecting. But you know what they're not expecting? Oh, they're not ready for what's coming next. They expected you to cry, to beg, to plead for their attention. They expected you to fall apart, to be crushed under the weight of their absence. They thought they knew you, your limits, your breaking point. They expected your silence to be a slow fade into nothingness. But what they never expected was for that silence to be the beginning of something far greater. They never expected your silence to be the birthplace of your rebirth. You see, they thought they'd written the final chapter of your story, a tragic ending where you stay trapped in memories of what could have been. But oh, you were never the ending. You were the plot twist they never saw coming. While they're sitting there, smug and satisfied, thinking you've disappeared into the shadows, you're building in those very shadows. You're becoming something they can't comprehend, unshaken, unstoppable, untouchable. Think of a volcano, silent, still, seemingly lifeless. But beneath the surface, power is building, pressure is rising, and one day, without warning, that silent mountain erupts, unstoppable, undeniable, and impossible to ignore. That's you. They thought you'd stay buried under the rubble they left behind. But what they never expected was that you were using that silence to rebuild, to rise higher, stronger, and better than ever before. The great writer Janet Fitch once wisely said, "The phoenix must burn to emerge." They thought they had burned you to ashes, but what they didn't know is that ashes are where legends are born. You are the phoenix rising from a fire they thought would consume you. They'll never understand how you turned destruction into creation, pain into power, and silence into a roar the world cannot ignore. They were expecting a victim. What they never expected was a warrior. Because while they were busy celebrating your downfall, you were sharpening your mind, building your strength, and fortifying your soul. Every tear, every lonely night, every whispered doubt, they became the fuel for your transformation. You didn't just survive, you thrived. Oh, and when they finally realize what you've become, it'll be too late. They thought you needed them. They thought your silence was a desperate attempt to make them miss you. But they were dead wrong. You didn't fall silent because you were broken. You fell silent because you were done. You were done chasing, done explaining, done wasting precious energy on someone who could never recognize your worth. You turned that energy inward, into your dreams, your goals, your purpose. You stopped waiting for them to notice your value because you finally realized they never defined it to begin with. The legendary musician Frank Sinatra once said, "The best revenge is massive success." But here's the thing, it was never about revenge. They think you're coming back to prove a point, but you're not coming back at all. You're not even looking in their direction. While they sit there stuck in the past, you're living a future so bright it blinds anyone who ever doubted you. You are the storm they never saw coming, the one they thought they could predict, control, dismiss. But now, you're beyond reach. Remember this, the lion doesn't have to announce its presence. It doesn't need to roar to prove it's the king of the jungle. Its power is felt. Its strength is known. That's you. Your silence is the proof of your strength. Your absence is the echo they can't escape. You've stopped being someone they can manipulate, and now you're someone they'll never forget. The philosopher Epictetus wisely taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." They expected your reaction, your anger, your heartbreak, but your lack of response has shattered their entire sense of control. They thought they held the strings, but you've been cutting them, one by one, until there's nothing left for them to pull. And oh, when they finally realize what you've become, it'll be too late. They'll sit there, wondering where you went, what you're thinking, and whether you ever cared. But by then, you'll be miles ahead, living your best life, free from the chains they tried to place on you. So let them think you're playing games. Let them believe you're using the same tired tactics they live by. It doesn't matter, because while they're busy analyzing, second-guessing, wondering if you're trying to make them miss you, you're already gone. You've stepped into a world where their opinions, their power, their control no longer exist. Say it with me. I am the storm they never saw coming. Drop it in the comments. Declare it. Own it. Live it. Because you are the ending they never expected and the beginning they'll never escape. Number 4. Reclaiming power. Like a stoic. Imagine a ship lost at sea, battered by relentless storms. The waves crash, the wind howls, and for a moment it seems like the ship might sink. But deep within its core lies an anchor, silent, unseen, yet unyielding. No matter how violent the storm, that anchor holds, grounding the ship through chaos. You are that ship, and your inner strength, your ability to stay still, calm, and steady, is your anchor. That's what reclaiming power like a stoic means. It's not about fighting the storm. It's about becoming unshakable in the midst of it. The people who laughed at your silence, who thought they defeated you, were betting on you being like every other ship, drifting, lost, and eventually sinking. But what they never counted on was your anchor. Reclaiming power like a stoic means you no longer need their validation, their approval, or their acknowledgement. Your power isn't dependent on what happens around you. It's rooted in what happens within you. And when you realize that, no storm can sink you. As the ancient Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wisely wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the ultimate truth. Control your mind, and you control everything. The person who can master their emotions is the person no one can manipulate. They can throw stones, stir chaos, and create confusion. But if you remain centered, none of it can touch you. Reclaiming power like a stoic isn't about ignoring pain or pretending not to care. It's about acknowledging the hurt, processing the emotions, and then letting them go. It's refusing to let external chaos control your internal peace. It's understanding that your worth is not determined by how someone else treats you, but by how you choose to respond. Picture a candle in the darkness. No matter how thick the night becomes, that candle continues to burn, quietly, steadily, without fanfare. The darkness can't put it out because its flame comes from within. That's you. They thought your silence meant you'd been extinguished, that they'd snuffed out your light. But in reality, you've been burning brighter than ever, just out of their reach. They didn't notice because they were too busy looking for fireworks, when they should have feared the quiet flame that never dies. Reclaiming power like a Stoic means knowing when to walk away, not to be noticed, not to make a point, but because you've outgrown what no longer serves you. It means choosing your battles wisely. Not every insult, betrayal, or slight deserves your attention. True strength is being able to let it be and keep moving forward. As the philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." They craved power over you. They thrived on controlling your emotions, on making you doubt your worth. But you've taken away the one thing they can't survive without: your attention. The moment you stop reacting, you reclaim your energy. The second you stop seeking closure, you reclaim your peace. And when you let go of needing them to see your value, you reclaim your freedom. They thought they held the strings, but what they didn't realize is that the power to cut those strings was always yours. They expected you to be a puppet, dancing when they pulled, falling when they let go. But oh, you were never a puppet. You were the one holding the blade. Reclaiming power like a Stoic means becoming self-sufficient. It's realizing that your happiness, your future, your success, none of it depends on anyone else. You don't need them to see your worth. You've always been worthy. They think power comes from making others submit. But true power comes from rising above. It comes from standing tall when everything around you tries to break you. It comes from being your own rescue, from becoming the person who no longer needs someone to come back, apologize, or acknowledge what they did. The great philosopher Epictetus once said, "We suffer not from events, but from our judgments about them." You can't control what they did. You can't change the past, but you can change how you view it, how you let it shape your future. You can choose to let it make you bitter or let it make you better. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. The most dangerous person in the world is someone who doesn't need anything from anyone. Someone who is whole, complete, and secure in themselves. That's you. You've reclaimed your power, not through revenge, not through confrontation, but through transformation. They thought your silence was defeat, but it was a declaration that you no longer live in their world, follow their rules, or seek their approval. Say it with me. I reclaim my power. Drop it in the comments. Declare it with every breath, not for them, but for you. Because you are the anchor that holds through the storm. You are the flame that keeps burning through the darkest nights. You are the master of your own mind. And when you reclaim that power, nothing and no one can ever take it from you. Number 5. The flip they never saw coming. Imagine playing a game where your opponent is convinced they've already won. They're so sure of their victory that they stop paying attention, certain you're out of moves. They laugh, relax, and bask in their so-called triumph until you make the one move they never saw coming. Oh, that's the moment everything changes. They thought you were done, finished, a forgotten chapter. But what they never saw coming was your rise. While they were busy celebrating your defeat, you were working in silence, building, healing, evolving. They thought your story had ended, but your silence was never the closing chapter. It was the beginning of your transformation. And when they finally realize what's happened, it will be far too late. They expected you to stay stuck in the past, trapped in memories of what they did, reliving the pain, longing for closure. They thought they could leave you behind, convinced that their absence would define your existence. But they missed the part where you moved on. It's like a seed buried deep beneath the earth. To the outside world, it looks dead, forgotten, irrelevant. But beneath the surface, life is happening. The roots stretch, the seed grows silently, gathering strength. Then one day, without warning, it breaks through the soil, strong, unstoppable, and undeniable. You are that seed. They thought they buried you, but they didn't realize they were planting you, and now you're the force they never expected. As the great philosopher Lao Tzu once said, silence is a source of great strength. They believed silence meant defeat, but they never understood its power. Silence isn't emptiness, it's potential. It's energy being redirected into growth. They thought you were gone, but really you were becoming. The flip they never saw coming wasn't some dramatic confrontation or emotional explosion. It wasn't revenge or some grand declaration of strength. No, the flip was your transformation. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped needing validation. You stopped playing their game entirely. And when they finally notice your absence, it will hit them like a storm they never prepared for. They'll search for the person they thought they left behind, but that person no longer exists. What they'll see instead is someone they can't control, someone who no longer reacts, someone whose life thrives without them in it. The flip isn't about making them regret. It's about realizing that you never needed them in the first place. The poet Rumi once said, "Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Let life live through you. The wound is where the light enters you." They thought they broke you with their indifference, but what they never understood is that every wound they caused became a doorway to your strength. Every time they underestimated you, dismissed you, or ignored you, they handed you the keys to your own freedom. And now, you're unstoppable. They expected you to stay frozen in the past, consumed by thoughts of what could have been. But you've outgrown that world. While they were playing the same old game, you were building a new life, one where their existence no longer matters. The flip they never saw coming is your success, your happiness, your ability to let go. They thought your silence was about them, but it was never about them. It was about reclaiming yourself, your worth, your future. They expected revenge, closure, confrontation, but you gave them nothing, no explanation, no apology, no plea, just silence. And that silence, oh, will echo louder than any words ever could. Because here's the thing about people who play games. They expect drama. They expect you to come back, to fight, to react. They expect noise, not stillness. So when you respond with nothing, it terrifies them. It forces them to face themselves, and that's something they've been running from all along. As the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Your greatest move wasn't revenge, it was freedom. It was walking away without a backward glance. It was building a life so full, so rich, so powerful that their opinion no longer holds any weight. They thought they were the main character in your story, but you've rewritten the script. You are the hero of your life, the one who rose without needing anyone's permission, the one who thrived without seeking approval, the one who reclaimed everything they thought they could take from you. So let them laugh now. Let them believe they've won. Because while they're stuck in the past, you're living in the future. Say it with me. I am the flip they never saw coming. Drop it in the comments. Declare it. Own it. Live it. Because you are the ending they never expected and the beginning they'll never escape. Number 6. They were never the prize. Here's a truth that takes time to sink in. The people who hurt you, abandoned you, or underestimated you were never the prize. You spent so much energy trying to prove your worth to them, believing that if you could just win their approval, their love, or their respect, it would mean something. But let me tell you something. Your worth was never tied to them in the first place. They wanted you to think they were the prize because it gave them power, but their absence only revealed the truth. The real prize is you. It's your resilience, your ability to rebuild, your capacity to love even after being hurt. You've been fighting for a seat at their table, not realizing that their table was never worthy of you. When you finally see that they were never the prize, everything shifts. You stop chasing, you stop yearning, and you start realizing that what you've been searching for was already within you. The validation, the love, the respect, it's all yours to give yourself. And once you do, the world aligns in ways you never imagined. Because here's the kicker. When you walk away and start living for yourself, you become the prize. People notice the glow, the confidence, the energy that radiates from someone who no longer seeks approval from others. And the ones who thought they were the prize, they'll watch from the sidelines, wishing they had seen your worth before you did. Number 7. The best revenge is no revenge. When someone wrongs you, the instinctive reaction is to get even, to make them feel the same pain they caused you. But here's the thing about revenge. It keeps you tethered to the very people and situations you're trying to escape. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The best revenge isn't some elaborate plan to make them regret their actions. The best revenge is moving on. It's healing. It's thriving in a way that makes their presence or absence completely irrelevant. It's building a life so full and so beautiful that their memory fades into insignificance. Revenge feeds the cycle of negativity, but letting go breaks it. When you release the need to retaliate, you free yourself from the grip they have on you. You reclaim your energy, your focus, and your peace. And in the process, you prove to yourself and the world that you're not defined by what happened to you, but by how you chose to rise above it. So don't give them the satisfaction of your anger, your attention, or your time. The best revenge is showing them that their actions didn't break you. They built a stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable version of you. And when you reach that point, you'll realize that you didn't just win, you transcended. Let me know if you'd like to explore these ideas further or add more depth.